Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I just literally finished reviewing The Black Phone, the short story from Joe Hill, the first film, as well as The Black Phone 2, so I'll link that down below if you're interested, but this is more so going into my booktube part, where I did not realize that when I went to go read The Black Phone to get ready for The Black Phone 2, I wanted to read The Black Phone, watch the first film, then go see the second one in theaters. At that time, I had no idea that The Black Phone is just a short story from originally published as the book 20th Century Ghosts by Joe Hill. I love Joe Hill. My absolute favorite book in the world right now is from Joe Hill, and that is Horns. And he has a new book I'm definitely going to check out, which is King's Sorrow. I'm so excited to read that, so I'm taking a long pause on Stephen King and going to his son, who's like, I'm sorry, Stephen King is great. He is awesome. I love his stories. I cannot wait. November, I'm going to be starting the one that started all the Dark Tower series, but I'm taking still a break to enjoy and absolutely love Joe Hill. So this is the second book I've actually finished from Joe Hill. And I gotta say, it's just page turning. Like Stephen King, I was reading Needful Things, and it just, I'm not even like, I'm maybe a third of the way, maybe a little bit close to halfway in Needful Things. But it started feeling like a chore. So I put it down, and I was excited to start this, just to start it. And I finished it, I think within a month, because it's still October, right? Yeah. Like, I love this story so much. These stories, they're short stories. So it's originally titled 20th Century Ghosts. The only reason it shows the Black Phone, because obviously after the movie had all this hype to get people to buy it, you look for the Black Phone, which I'm glad I did, because I saw 20th Century Ghosts so many times every time I go to a bookstore, but I never knew that was the Black Phone was inside of 20th Century Ghosts. So there are, I believe, 17 short stories, and the Black Phone is the 7th, but we're going to talk about all of them really quickly, just kind of speed run it through because there's a lot. But I'm going to give a synopsis, my favorite quote, and why I rate each story. And the first story is Best New Horror, and this is basically a author who reads this really intriguing but disturbing story about Button Boy. If you know, you know. And basically, he wants to go thank the author and give him his flowers, say, this is a great story, I appreciate it. And he goes down this journey to go talk to the author, and he finds out that even though the story was very disturbing, it could have ended even worse, and then he may have figured something else out. It ends very ambiguously, but basically, Eddie Carroll is the author, and that enjoys the story of Button Boy. And Button Boy was written by Arnold Kilrew. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong. But in the story of Button Boy, there's a girl who gets mixed up with a giant and a boy that has buttons for eyes. And they do horrific things to her. And again, according to the author, he wanted it to end even more horrifically. But in that story, she ends up escaping, and she ends up trying to seek help. And I think a couple years later, she thinks she finds help, and she goes to this guy, but he's rather large, kind of like a giant, and I can't remember exactly beat per beat, but basically the kid who tries to help her is Button Boy again, and so it ends bad. She gets kidnapped again. So Eddie Carroll goes to talk to Arnold Kilroy, just saying like, that was a great story. But then when he goes to meet him, things are off. And he's like, there's a big guy, a brother of his that's really large. When he gets there, and things are just off-putting, the guy's weird. He's like, oh, that's the story. I wanted it to end this way, and that was way worse than how it ended. And he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go grab something out of my car real quick. And he goes into the house. He goes through the house. And he ends up finding a woman who is chained to a bed. And I forgot to mention in Button Boy, the girl, the character, had her tongue ripped out. And the woman who's chained to the bed, well, she doesn't have a tongue. So he's kind of thinking, was this an autobiography? Was this not like a fictional story? Was this an autobiography? So he starts feeling bizarre things. And he's even telling himself, like, this is beat per beat what, you know, when you're watching a film or you're reading a book and it's like, no, character, don't go that way. And he's doing all these things. He says, when you're running from someone, you never jump the stairs. That was how you twisted an ankle. And yet he does it anyway. And I did like how in this story Joe Hill does kind of reference his dad's work here. He said, blood like you wouldn't believe. It's like the end of Carrie. And I was like, oh, he said the thing. But Best New Horror, I really liked it. It's only 23 pages long. And I'm going to rate it a 3.5. It did hit. It was very memorable. I just really enjoyed that one. It wasn't one of the best, but I did enjoy it. The next one is 20th Century Ghosts, which is what, again, this was originally published as. Now, 20th Century Ghosts, it reminded me very much Phantom of the Megaplex, which I need to watch that this year with my daughter. She's only 2, but I mean, I'll read stuff like this, so I mean, she's gonna be fine growing up. She's already watching these movies, like, with her hands over her face. She's so cute. I won't tell you what movie we watched, but she's already going like that when she watches it. But it's very Phantom of the Megaplex. Basically, it does take part in a theater, and it kind of lives off ambiguously too. You don't know if the boy ends up joining her in the afterlife, but there's a little girl who got her life taken from her in a movie theater very brutally. And my favorite quote is, he felt ill to live in a world where a 19-year-old girl full of laughter and life could be struck down like that for no reason. And that hits very deeply in today's day and time as well. But it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It definitely wasn't my favorite, so I'm just going to give it a 3-star. Again, we're just going through these really fast. I'm beating Light and Battery. The next one is Pop Art. Now, I'm a little weirdo, and I do not like balloons being popped. And I also love, I'm not wearing it right now, my Art the Clown Terrifier hoodie. I need to be for Halloween. What the hell? I'm not wearing it. But I love Art the Clown. And Invisible Friends, I don't want to speak on it, but I just love, this story was literally made for me, Pop Art. And basically, there's a boy who has a friend, not an imaginary one. In this world, helium balloon friends are just like with the rest of society. And I've always thought, like, wouldn't that be neat if, like, we're kind of doing it a little bit with, like, Muppets and cartoons, but, like, if anime people were, like, in the real world, that'd be really cool. But in this world, helium balloons. And he makes a friend named Arthur, who's a helium balloon. So his name's Arthur, so he goes by Art. And he has to, like, avoid bushes and, like, sharp edges and stuff. And I'm like, this is so effing cute. It's, like, literally the perfect story. When I first read it, I was, like, having so much fun. But then I was like, what's this one called again? It's called Pop Art. So I avoided reading the rest of it for a while, for a few days. I was like, I think Art's gonna pop. And I'm weird. I don't like when balloons pop. It makes me sad. Even my daughter, she's like popping balloons and stuff. She doesn't cry at all. Like, not even from being scared of the popping sound. But like, she doesn't care, but I'm like, no. She had like a little pumpkin balloon and she popped it, and I'm like, no, rest in peace, pumpkin balloon. Like, that's just who I am. I'm weird. So I realized it's called pop art, and I'm like, I don't want to read it. So I put it aside for the longest time, but then I finally got through it. He doesn't, spoiler, he doesn't pop, but he doesn't make it either. Sorry. But still read it. It's really good. My favorite part, because since he's a helium balloon, he gets very bullied, Art does. And gosh, again, just going with the times of this year, this one was really sad for me to read this quote. I actually took a moment to actually like text my sister and be like, damn, this hits, doesn't it? He was like a holy person in a Bible story. You know how Bible stories go. That kind person, they're never around long. They're never around long. Losers and jerks put nails in them. I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. And watch the air run out. I love this story so much. I'm rating it a 4.8. I don't think any of them were really 5 stars. That one was definitely written as if it was written for me. It's just not 4.8 because if it wasn't so weirdly personal for me, I may not have liked it. Sorry, I did not mean for that to hit so hard. But I love that story. I really do. I know I'm crying, but like, I really love that one. The next one is, oh, it is? Oh. The next one is, You Will Hear the Locusts Sing. This story. Now, opposite of pop art, where it was everything I wanted, and then I love that story. I should have finished that story in a snap. But I took forever because it was called pop art. I didn't want, gosh dang, I didn't want to read about a balloon popping. So I took forever to read that book. The opposite is for You Will Hear the Locusts Sing. You Will Hear the Locusts Sing. I don't like bugs. The body horror just in the first pages is so gross. The description. I was like, ew. I'm gonna fly through this one. I finished it, I finished it in a day. And that was a full day's worth of grooming dogs all day. And I started reading at 7 in the morning and I finished at 9 o'clock at night. Because I wanted it to just be over. It's like fast forwarding. It's like, oh, this is so gross. I just want to fast forward it. Just to let you guys know already, this is the one that's a 4.9. I did not like the story at first. But when you talk about horror and what's going to scare you, what's going to disturb you, what's going to make you cringe and what could be a movie, You Will Hear the Locusts Sing would make such a film. Crazy. Oh my gosh, it was disturbing, body horror, insect, and fear-inducing. So basically, Francis is a boy who, it starts off with, I've never seen The Fly, because I don't like bugs, and I don't like people turning into bugs. But Francis becomes a locust, and him and his friend Eric, it says in the past they were talking about becoming locusts, and so when he becomes one, he's like, I want to go show Eric that I'm a locust. He'll be like so ratted out about it. I want to know how they became locusts. I want to know how they knew to become locusts. Like, how did they even know that was a thing? And again, also, I haven't ever read the Bible fully, and I really have not read the ending of the Bible. So I don't, the only idea I have about locusts in the Bible is Moses, when the plague and everything came back, and then God sent locusts to like kill the crops. Well, when he becomes a locust, it's kind of biblical that like, you will hear the locusts sing, you will become a locust and not kill the crops, but kill as many people as possible. I don't understand the whole end of time stuff. I don't really want to, because I think that's how people become way too paranoid and fantastical about biblical stuff. I just like to live the day to day, and if crazy shit happens, I mean, crazy shit happens all the time, let's be honest, especially this year. Anyway, but I can't explain it. I can't explain how great this one was. Even though it's so gross, it is everything you want in a horror film. You don't want this to happen. To become a locust, to have someone become a locust, he ends up even killing his best friend Eric when he goes to the school. And the quote I put here is, he killed him first because he loved him. And when he looked at him, Eric knew it was him. He's like, awesome! And then he just kills him. And then he just does a whole school massacre as a locust. Just insane. I want to know more. I want more. I wish this one was so much longer than it is. The last story of the book, which wasn't that great, is the longest story, and I wish it had been Where the Locusts Sing. And I think it would be, I would go see it, but I'd be grossed out. I would like to see that in the movie. The next story is Abraham's Boys. And this one is about some kids that have a very overbearing dad. But then one day when dad's gone, they go into his room. I think it's accidental, but they go into his room, and he finds a picture of a woman who is slaughtered. And he's like, from his dad. And he's like judging his dad differently. And his dad comes home and he sees, they've seen this photo, and he's like, oh, don't worry, boys, I'm killing vampires. He ends up shutting the little brother into the basement, the dad does, and he starts going after Max, who's the main character. And Max stands up for himself and ends his dad's lifeline, because I think, like Max, I don't believe the dad is actually killing vampires. I think that's just what he's telling himself to justify ending women's lives. And it ends there. So there could be a happy ending there. And my created happy ending is that right after Max ends his dad's life, he goes to the basement and gets his little brother out. It could definitely not be that way, but I mean, I really think that's most likely what happened, is he went and saved his brother. But it was an interesting enough story, so I am rating that one a 4.3. It was pretty good. The next one is Better Than Home. Better Than Home, it truly went over my head. I don't remember it at all. I honestly feel like I should lower the rating on it, because I don't remember. It kept switching like stories and plot points so many times. I just didn't ever become invested in anything. It wasn't scary. The next one is The Black Phone. I'm gonna skip this one for now. I'll just do the rating because I have a whole review, and that's down below if you want to check it out, or check out my film review playlist. So it's kind of meshed in film and booktube at the same time. But go check that one out on your own time. I did rate it 4.5, the short story. The next one is The Rundown, and I really like this one. It is really good. It also leaves off ambiguous. Basically, there's a boy who's kind of having difficulty in life. He gets fired from a job, and he finds this lady, Miss Prezer, holding her son in a car, and the son doesn't look okay. Like, he's very injured, she's injured, and she's asking for help. She's like, help, he went that way, da 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 da. And he's like, who went that way? And she's like, the guy who did this. But it's weird, because when he's like, well, let me help you, let me take your son, she becomes very protective, and she starts just being different and actually attacking Kingston. So she starts attacking Kingston, and to me that shows she's lying. There is no man, and my belief is that she did this to her son. She's crazy and did something to her son. And so when Kingston pushes her down on the ground as defense, because she's scratching and clawing at him, she goes running away down the alley going like, help me, he's hurting me and my son. And that's when he realizes the son's still alive. He's holding his neck and like, because there's a big gash in the neck, and he's like that. So he's like, I'm gonna get you help. He leaves the boy there as he goes and gets help. And as he's running, he sees a figure in the distance that looks like a sheriff. And it ends. So it could end several ways. In a happy ending, that is a sheriff, and he goes back and saves Baxter. And when the mom's like, oh my gosh, she's like hurting us, he's like, he calls her bullshit, arrest her, happy ending. Or it could also end differently and more unhappy. Say that's not a sheriff. Say she was telling the truth, that there was a man who did this to her and her son, and Kingston's running straight towards that man. That would be bad. So I like the ambiguous ending. And my favorite quote, because he does have a issue with employees, and so with my past with working with people, I definitely felt this. It had been an unusual experience for him to get along with an employer, but now here it turned out to be the same old crap in the end. Someone had a personal grievance against him, an axe to grind, and there was no due process, no effort to hear everyone out and get all the information. I'm sick to death of hearing people complain about you, but not which people or what their complaints were. I definitely feel that. Sometimes employers just want to get rid of the problem and don't care to actually figure out what happened and listen to everybody. So I definitely like that one. The rundown, I'm going to rate it a 4.6 because I love the ambiguous ending and leaving it up in the air like that. How would you all interpret it if it ends he's just running towards the sheriff, but the sheriff's kind of in the distance, we can't see him. The next one is The Cape. I was not a fan of this one. It took me a lot of concentration, especially going from a great story to this one. Concentration and motivation to continue reading. I had to reread so many parts, and I found the main character so effing boring. And basically, I don't even know, he has this cape, and he tries to use it when he's young, but he ends up not knowing how to use it properly, gets his arm broken, falls out of a tree. Then when he's an adult and he's having this separation with his wife, he basically stalks her, so maybe that's why I don't like it. I don't like stalkers. I've had too many in my life. I will never watch the show You or anything that people are like, oh, this mainstream show or movie of a man, even 50 Shades of Grey shit, like, oh, this man's stalking a woman, like, it's so cool, man. I'm like, I lived it. I'm done with that crap. I don't like reading or watching it. But he goes to her house to use the cape. He flew to her house with this cape, and then he goes in her room, flies her around in the room with the cape, and then they go out like a whole new world, and he drops her. I found it stupid. Sorry, I just didn't like it. My favorite quote from it, because being a younger sister who annoyed my older sister when she started getting friends, I definitely felt this one too. My brother, he had friends coming over, and he wanted me not to exist, but I couldn't help it. I existed. I still feel that to this day. Even having a baby, like, there are times, you know, you see a woman struggling to get inside somewhere, and most people, with a baby, most people would open the door and help her out and say, oh, let me get that for you, ma'am. No, people let the door just shut on me and my daughter, and it pisses me off. It doesn't annoy me for me, but it pisses me off for her. Treat me like shit, sure. Treat her like shit, it's so rude. Like, she's only 2, like, and they're not purposely doing it. It's like I'm invisible. It's like they don't want me to exist, and I'm sorry I do. It's kind of like when people pass me in a store, and I've already moved aside, and then they're like, excuse me. I'm like, I already fucking moved. I can't go further into the shelf, or I will knock everything over. I don't get it. Oh well. The next one is Last Breath. And do I have notes on it? I'm sure I do. I did enjoy this one. It reminded me a lot of returning to Needful Things. Yes, Last Breath. I did like this one. It reminds me I need to go read Needful Things. However, I'm reading a new book. Hopefully gonna get it done the latest Halloween. Because it's not Stephen King or Joe Hill. I will not talk about what book that is until I make the review on it. But it's going good so far. I'm already on like chapter 7, I think, of that book. But I'm still kind of softy enoughing Needful Things for now, but I will return to it. And this book really got me inspired too. But the store owner, Angler, mirrors the behavior and mannerisms of Leland Gaunt from Needful Things. As I fell into a reading slump with Needful Things, Last Breath has excited me to return to it. My favorite quote from it is, in the battle between anxiety and social custom almost always won. I really like that one. It's very, I'm not going to go too into depth about what it's about, just it's very like I said, it mirrors Needful Things, and Allinger really mirrors Leland Gaunt, so it's nice. I was like, oh, there you are. Oh, I need to read you. It kind of felt like called out. I was like, I need to go read Needful Things now. The next one, Last Breath, I did rate it a 3.2 because it was interesting enough, but it didn't hit because I really need to go read Needful Things. It was good though. At least it got to the point and got to the ending, but that's because it's a short story. Needful Things is just it's just dragging a bit, so that's why I'm softy enoughing it. The next one is a very short story, and it's only rated so low because you can't really have character development or anything with nature. But I did like the nature aspect of it. It's called Deadwood. I really don't have a rating for it. I enjoyed it. That's all you need to know. Because it's about nature. It's interesting and it's haunting. Just difficult to envision a full story, but love the natural aspect of it. My favorite quote is, something that doesn't know it's alive obviously can't be expected to know when it's dead. I just like that. Again, it's very nature. It's talking about Deadwood, so it's really good though. But I'm not going to rate it because it's not fair to rate it. The next one is Widow's Breakfast, and I did not like this one at all. It's about two brothers, Killian and Gabe, and it's just, I was so confused, and there's nothing scary, it's confusing, and nothing intriguing about it, so I'm rating that one 2.5. The next one, Bobby Conroy comes back from the dead. I like this one. It was kind of about filming film, so filmmaking, and they mentioned Tom Savini and Robin Williams, so I liked it for those aspects. It was really nice. But it was not scary at all, so like I can't rate it high for horror, but for a cute little romance, because they're like rekindling a romance. And then Bobby and what the fuck is her name, dude, I don't know, Harriet. Bobby and Harriet, and they're rekindling, they're meeting on the set of a zombie movie, so they're all dressed up like zombies, and she has a son named Bobby with a husband that adult Bobby does not really like. He's like, what the fuck? Like, that's who you married? And the new husband and Harriet are like, we did not name our son after you, but I think she did. I really think she did. I think adult Bobby like left such an imprint in her life that she named her son Bobby too. It was really cute. It was more cute on like a romantic aspect of it. My favorite quote from this one is, all his other daydreams had thorns on them. Handling them always threatened a sudden sharp prick of pain. But he liked all of his daydreams and memories with her. Like, it was really cute romantically. The next one is called My Father's Mask. This one reminded me very much of Occult-like or The Shining. That's the family I actually envisioned, was Wendy, Jack, and Danny Torrance during this one. But it was really good. It was good horror as well. Very interesting. Felt very cult-like. The dad must, basically, they just randomly go to this place where they have to wear masks, and the mom makes everything kind of like a game. Oh, this is just a game. We're going to this house. Oh, it's a game. We're wearing these masks to hide our faces because we're kind of being hunted right now. But it's a game. It's just so much fun. But then the dad ends up having to stay, and I think basically he was used as a sacrifice. And the boy's name is Jack, and at the very end the mom's like, oh, they leave the dad in the house because I think he's being used as a sacrifice, and the mom and the son go in the car, and she turns to the son and says, you can take your mask off, and he's like, no, I'm good, and he keeps the mask on, and I think that alludes that he's gonna carry on the name of his dad in this occult. And then the mom seemed very enthusiastically off, kind of like Wendy from The Shining, like very sweet but very just off. My favorite quote from this one is, what if you want a vacation from your face? Oh, what if you want a vacation from your own face? I get awfully sick of being the same person day in and day out. And that was a quote from the mom when he asked about the masks. The last story, the longest story, I really wish the locust story had been the longest story, but whatever. Voluntary committal. I thought this one was going to be one that would hit with me because I thought it was going to be like voluntarily going into a psych ward. Committal, like you're committing to a psych ward on your own accord. I've never done that, so I'm not saying it's like personal in that way, but I was dropped off at one once. Anyway, it's not about that. It's not about that at all. There's a kid named Nolan, and he has a brother named Morris, and Morris builds things. So kind of like those little stack cups that people did in the past. He built things with cups, and then he kind of graduated to boxes and stuff like that. And one day his friend Eddie, Nolan's friend Eddie, it kind of mirrors as well The Good Son, because Eddie's a bad influence and they're throwing things into traffic, and Nolan has his hand on a brick, but Eddie's the one who takes his hand and makes the brick fall off the bridge, and it ends up causing an accident, which makes Nolan feel horrible. He's like, what the fuck? So they run away, and Eddie's like, oh, it's not your fault the brick fell. It's like, no, you're right. It's not my fault. It's yours. And that's why I can't have friends, because I call people out on that bullshit. I'm like, you're right. It's not my fault. It's yours. And I'm going to call the police right now. Like, I don't care if it gets me in trouble, if it gets you in trouble. I don't care. But Eddie's like, if you go to the police, I'm going to kill myself. I'm sorry, but for me, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Nice story, bro. Anyway, yeah, so this is what happened. Like, I don't care. That threat does nothing for me. And then Morris overhears, the little weird builder's son, he overhears this. And he's like, if you tell anybody what happened, I'm going to, end your lifeline. And basically, Nolan feels very like walking on eggshells because of what Eddie did, and he wants to go see if everyone's okay from the accident, but he doesn't want to upset Eddie, and he kind of confides to Morris. He's like, I wish you could just go away. Well, Eddie builds these boxes and stuff, and they're weird. It's like a different dimension, I guess, because Eddie goes inside one of Morris's creations, and he never comes back out. And then later in life, like much later, I think Nolan goes to college later, and Morris ends up disappearing in one of his own creations. And at the end, Nolan has an opportunity to go into one of the boxes, and he just decides not to. So I wish he had, and I think that could have been more of the story of, like, where did they go? What did they see? What other dimension did they go into? I think that would have been more interesting. And to read that many pages of the last story just to get, like, no, he's going to decide not to. I mean, it's the smart thing to do, but that's why characters don't make good decisions in stories, because then you don't have a story. So why did we get so many pages just to not have a story? That's kind of how I feel about that one, honestly. And I would rate it, honestly, a 3.4. It wasn't my favorite, especially to end on. I really wish we could have ended on something as great as that. The locust, you'll hear the locust sing. Even ending on my father's mask would have been more interesting. But my favorite quote from that one is, and maybe I have to admit that I'm writing this not to show anyone. A blank page is the only safe audience for this story I can imagine. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Overall, I finished it. I'm excited that I finished it, and I know all these stories, all these characters, and I did annotate the books. The stories. And I'm thinking, you guys let me know if you'd be interested in this. I'd probably only charge like $1. I think the lowest is what you can charge. But starting a Patreon where I upload all my annotations from the books and stories I read, because I love these quotes. They always mean something to me. Obviously, they may not mean anything to others, but let me know if that'd be interesting. Let me know if you guys have read 20th Century Ghost, and which one was your favorite story. Which one would you see being a movie? Because of all of them, I'm going to be honest, The Black Bone, had I not known there was a movie to it, I would have gravitated to that one being into a movie. I would have seen, again, I keep saying it, but you will hear the locust sing. I want more information on that one. Not really pop art, because that's just one for me personally, but where the locusts sing, my father's mask, and the rundown, where he's running towards the sheriff. Those are the ones I'm like, what happens? I want to know what happens, or how did that happen? I want more information. But if you've read any of the stories, please let me know what you thought about them, which ones sounded intriguing if you haven't read any of them, and just like, comment, subscribe.